Hello, I'm Lucy Hackett. I'm a composer and musician with ThinkSpace Education. I'm joined today with Micheal Baugh, film, TV and game composer. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, you just described me perfectly. I'm a film and video game composer, and that's what I've been doing for a while now. Come from the world of guitar originally as a solo artist, and then went into the wonderful, amazing world of game audio.
Fantastic. So can you tell us about any projects you've been working on recently?
Yeah, we just finished Metro Awakening, where I got to work with Catherine Dern on that project, which was really good. And then after that, I started work on a game called As One We Survive, which is an indie game, which is in development, coming out, I think, in 2025. And then there's another one called Tale of a Wolf, which is in development too. That's coming out, I think, in 2025 as well.
Fantastic.
So nothing's out yet.
Busy guy, though.
Yeah, but nothing's released.
Nothing's released
except
yet.
Metro's released a trailer, but other than that, we don't have anything out.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so today we're going to write some video game music for the horror genre specifically. We're going to be using some of Spitfire Audio's libraries. Primarily, we're going to be using Albion ICNE and Albion UIST. It plays a significant role, I would imagine, within the horror genre if you're watching it.
Yeah,
the music
exactly.
really impacts your experience.
Yes, what I do appreciate is what the music can do and what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
What's really good, like if we have a play around with some of these, because we want to create some layers. So if we're making game music, we want to make stuff that can be looped, and we can bring in different layers for different intensities, things that are happening throughout the game.
Yeah, because we want it to be interactive, I suppose. One of the key
Yes.
differences there between writing sort of linear music for TV or film compared to writing video game music is that we have these interactive layers that can come in and out of it. Okay.
Yeah, and we want to give the developers some options, because if they have some ambient layers to work with, and they have another layer of interest and then another layer of movement, then as the game unfolds, the story unfolds, then they can bring in different things to kind of accent those moments. So
fantastic.
Let's have a look at what we've got. So this is from Scrape Percussion. Let's see what we have here.
Oh, so this is another Spitfire library. What's this one? Scrape Percussion.
Yeah. So I've created like a small template of some cool sounds. So I think we'll use something like this to build the ambient layer to begin with.
Yeah.
What I've done, I think we should do this in 7/8. I've already prepared this because when you said horror, I thought, right, let's do something that's a bit makes it so that you don't feel where the downbeat is. So we might maybe even add another 6/8 section to this too.
So is this a typical sort of musical device that's used in horror?
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to feel like 4/4 where you can feel where the downbeat is. We want to make sure people are the listeners not confident they know where the beat is. So it puts you on edge a little bit. You don't know what's coming next, and then that means you can put the moments of interest that kind of jump out in places they don't expect it.
Fantastic. So it kind of increases that kind of unsettled feeling that, like, what's going to happen next?
That's it.
I love that.
Yeah. Let's see what we've got. So I want to start off with something.
Okay. So we're going for like an ambient kind of layer here to kind of set the scene.
Let's start with that, because we want to make it so that we can build some layers. In fact, let's do it again, because I want to make sure that mod wheel is set lower. Now, what I normally do, I would actually spend a lot more time on getting that mod wheel, bringing out the highlights there, how I want it. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to do this so that we got some layerings to work with.
Yeah.
And this is a really interesting library, because the sound design element to this has been done really well. Yeah, right? Maybe.
You can really hear that scraped.
Yeah.
It's in the title, isn't it? Scraped percussion. You can hear that instantly, like, kind of makes your
yeah, mate, the
neck
hair
tingle
stand
a bit,
up in the
doesn't
back of your
it?
neck, in a bad way.
Yeah, which is exactly what we want.
I think I'll use that one later, though, as like a moment of interest.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's bring this in, because this is adding like a nice layer that we can layer in the other one. Okay, so I'm going to drag that over. So this is kind of like, this is going to act like the bed that we're going to build everything on.
Okay, cool.
And I think one more, something that's a bit more
this one
Oh,
called?
that sounds very roomy.
Unpleasant Pasture. I love the names. I always wonder how they come up with the names.
The naming is quite appropriate. Scary Subway.
Scary Subway.
Who doesn't like us?
Ooh.
Do you know what I want to do? I want to use that one. I'll move these over a little bit. I want to start with this one first because it's a bit more subtle.
A bit, yeah, so we're building into it.
I'm going to turn the metronome off because I don't think it matters if I play an ambience on time in 7/8. Okay, that's quite nice.
That's lovely. So you're using the mod build to increase kind of the...
Yeah, like each of these patches, they all have, it feels, how would I explain it?
Kind of increasing the intensity of the
Yeah,
patch.
it's not just dynamics, it's sometimes it's rolling off the highs. Each one's doing something different. I didn't sit down and look at what they're all doing, but they're all doing something slightly different, which is, it's always interesting to open these patches and play around with them to see what the mod wheels do.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this one in 2, but near like halfway through. We might adjust that later, but I'll bring it around here.
Yeah.
Right.
I love this kind of clashing dissonance that's coming in with using multiple layers, even within your first sort of ambient layer.
Yeah, this is
nice.
it. Because what if the developer wants something that has no short strings and movement, something that's constant, but they want to have it so that it's got it alone has enough musical interest or sound interest in there that it can work alone. Then this is great.
Okay.
I think we're going to make one of these a little bit quieter. Which one is it? One of them is a bit loud.
Yeah, I'm just coming in a bit into the cathedral.
I think that one needs to go down a bit. So if I had a bit more time, what I would do is I would spend some time on this, making sure like I would EQ out some of the mid-range and lows because they're colliding a little bit, and I would stereo spread them, but in the interest of time. I mean, that's not bad already. Out of the box, it sounds super useful already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what else we've got.
And it's a good sort of tonal base, isn't it? Because we're not sort of setting a key, or we're not trying to put any kind of melodic structure or anything like that in yet, or harmony even, because it's just a nice bass ambient
This
layer.
is it, yeah. It's kind of one of the fun things of the genre is you can spend a lot of time playing around with these things and not have to worry about the details.
Yeah.
I guess the details really all tied up within how the textures interact and do they give that sense of unease that you want, like that.
Yeah.
So this is one I've never used until just the other day. Estatica, I think that's what you said.
Yes, yeah, another Spitfire library, yeah.
Really interesting one because everything in this isn't like anything else I have. So sometimes you open it and think, I don't know what you use this for. And then you come up with the situation where it's the perfect tool for the job. So in this case, right? So
amazing.
I'm going to use that as kind of like an introduction to some of these layers that come in later. I don't want it just to build without any kind of introduction to it because it's just like layer upon layer. But if you have like a moment of interest like this, make it a little bit quieter.
Nice.
I would probably add some like a different reverb to blend that in if I had a bit more time, but for the minute, that's great.
Lovely.
What's this? That's going to be used for in a bit.
That's going to be for another layer. Okay.
I don't want to bring that in too soon.
So is that our ambient layer kind of together, do you think?
I think so,
That'll work.
If I EQ'd these, you might kind of find like, there's a gap where you can kind of fill out the frequencies a bit more. Maybe play around with the EQ a bit, but I think this is a great starting point. What I like is when you put them all together, you get this nice complexity.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like almost like an airplane.
Yeah, but you're sort of almost getting a crossover, aren't you,
Right.
of like where the textures are going.
This is it, and this is why I'd want to spend more time with the mod wheel stuff in an ideal world because I can bring out more of these. Because sometimes you want some layers to come to the front and then sink to the back a bit more. But for the minute, I think we can work with that.
All right.
So from there, where should we go?
Well, we need to move into our next thing. So are you thinking next as like a kind of point of action that's coming in? Like something, I guess if you're imagining you're playing the game, perhaps, I don't know, when I'm writing for a make-believe scenario, I kind of create a narrative in my head. So let's pretend that something's kind of going to appear unexpectedly,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll have a moment of something, and then maybe we'll go into some action on the next one.
Yes,
like
exactly what I was thinking actually. Yeah, because we want to create some movement.
Yes.
So as the game unfolds, this layer can be a great starting point, and then we want the developer to have the option to bring in another layer that triggers something else.
Yes.
So before we put in the trigger, let's put in a thing that would happen after the trigger, because then that would kind of tell us exactly what kind of trigger we want to have.
What kind of hit point we need.
We could say like the person in the game that you're playing is now being chased. Okay, so like we're trying to get away from something.
Okay.
So let's use. I want to do high string, but what I want to do, I want to do it in a way where it sounds off. So if we take these low strings and I'm going to play it. 2 notes together that should never be played together. And what we're going to do, we're going to pitch these up. So first of all, I would say we'll probably start not too soon. Let's just go from the beginning for the minute there and just kind of get an idea where we want to start. This is where you will see my amazingly bad timing, because I am not a piano player at all. Right, let's just take that for the minute. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get with that last one because it's going to start again there.
So at the moment you're using the low strings. This is from the Iceni album library?
Yeah, this is Iceni. Cool. So we'll open that up in a second.
So they've got a real richness to them already, sort of out the box.
Yeah, it's a really good sounding library. I mean, yeah, I if I was just doing low strings, I'd be quite happy to work with that as it is. What I like about this is the close and far mics. It's so easy. It's not like you spend hours trying to get the mics right. It's kind of set up to work fast.
Yeah.
And I just really like how they've designed this.
Yeah, but there is sort of editability within the interface, isn't there? You can kind of position those mics.
Some user interfaces,
you know,
some are too complex. They have too much in there to mess around with. I like simple. I'm a simple man and I like simple things. Let's just double check this timing because I'm probably out. That's all right.
That's not bad at all, yeah.
I mean, I did quantize it, so all credit to Cubase. I'm going to take this one and move it out of time. The reason why I want to do that, I want it to feel worse. See that? It's like that slight delay.
Yeah.
Now what I want to do, let's first of all grab this and just do that for the minute. Now, see what happened there? That one there, the first one was too soft. So we're going to bring that up. Now, normally I wouldn't be in the red like this with these because, you know, but it's this genre, right? It needs to be a bit more on edge. I want to make the high note a little bit softer. Oh, that one's gone out of time. Let's put it back in. Where's it gone out? My quantizer's given up on me. There we go.
So this is kind of adding on to that theme of dissonance that we were talking about in the layers, that kind of atonality that's typical of a lot of horror music.
Yes.
Because again, it's unsettling, isn't it? It's not, our human ears are quite well trained to these, you know, sounds that resolve and kind of we're familiar with, and this is unsettling again.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good point because we want the attention to detail to be there. So those little moments of intensity can be even in the ostinato like that, where you just have a note that shouldn't really be there. And I made it a little bit quieter so it's not super obvious. So it feels wrong because if you just hear that ostinato by itself, it could sound not this genre, right?
Yeah.
But by putting that note in, it's like, oh, it's a little bit off. And I want to make it even more off now. So I want to render this out to audio.
Okay.
So it's low strings. But we're going to make it high strings. Now, it's not going to sound like high strings. I'm going to transpose it up 12. So now it's an octave up. Now it sounds like this. I'll solo it.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because it's got reverb on it already and that's been transposed up. It feels unnatural. It doesn't feel real, but we're not going for real. We're going for, we want you to feel uncomfortable. We want you to feel like something's really off.
Just a bit off, yeah. And there's something about taking an organic sound, like a string sample, for instance, and then manipulating and warping it just slightly so that the ear again, like that's a string instrument, but something's up, something's happened here.
And I mean, this is super basic processing, just rendering out and pitching it up. Anyone can do it, and yet, if we get the volume right, it sounds.
So this is our action kind of chase layer that we're going to move into.
Exactly. We might start it a little bit later than that. Now, the reason why I want them to be high is because we're going to bring in these lows, but we're going to bring it in later. So when we add the lows to it, right, so we can all of a sudden
we're doubling them up.
So that's another layer that the developer
really cool.
has that they can bring in to raise that intensity. Because when we bring in more layers, what we don't want to do, we don't want to make it more musical, we want to make it more tense.
Yeah.
This is a great way of doing that. So now we know what the action thing is. So how do we, like you mentioned earlier about like we need a moment of interest that triggers something.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we do it with either a brass or a string stab.
Okay.
So this is
what have we got in here?
Albion newest.
Okay. So we've got some high stabs, some high textures, phrases.
Yeah, so what I love about these, out the box, right?
Okay.
So, whoa.
So they're like performance patches then?
Basically,
yeah.
What I like, you've got tonal and atonal ones, so there's a lot we can do with this. I'm just trying to find one that's a bit more intense. Do you know what? I think the first
low
one.
Stabs as well, brass.
Yeah,
low.
that's a good call. Let's try that. Oh, you found it.
There we go.
We got it in one. Let's just check the other sting one as well. Oh, that's the same one. No, I think you're right. I think low stabs is the one. Okay, I'm going to go with that because it's got like, with a percussive hit, that's going to be quite dramatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I aim to start it around here, let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? We'll find out. Okay, that might be slightly out of time, but let's
sort that out.
Maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Love it.
It might be too loud, but it doesn't matter because we want people to feel, ooh, something bad.
That contrast between your subtle dynamic start there, you know, your soft dynamics coming in then with this loud brass hit, it's gonna
jump out right straight.
We've got
from
a jump
the
scare
ambience.
here. That's great.
So this is Hammers, which I do like this library a lot. But these two, the ensemble and the what do they call it? The roughs preset, which I call flams. They're calling them roughs. Which what I like about this. It's a corresponding key to the ensemble. It's the same one.
But so it's got that extra
right. So
layer.
it's really fun and easy to use. I don't have to spend ages trying to find it. So let's start off with the bit of drama in there. So let's add that. Where's my there you go. No, we need a metronome because I don't have perfect timing. Okay. So let's just double check that was on time. Look at that, my amazing amount of time playing. That one quiet. I know why, let me just record in the... Put that in there.
There it is. Wow, so just layering up that brass hit and percussion hit already, we've got a new kind of hit that impacts even more.
Yes, exactly. It's just, and the other thing is a developer can leave out that if they don't want that in there at that moment.
Yes.
So again, it's just the layers. Because often the percussion can be taken in and out depending on the intensity of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because what we don't want to do, we don't want to create a rhythmic percussion element because the ostinato is already doing that. So we want to use the percussion to really make people jump.
Yeah.
And I think if we compare that to the ambience, the percussion didn't come in.
It didn't.
I must have accidentally deleted it. There, I did. I deleted it. Yeah. So it would do this.
There we go.
Yeah, I want to layer that up though. That's a little too quiet for my liking. I want that percussion to feel really aggressive.
So we're putting another rough underneath there.
Yeah.
It will go.
I just want to see how that works. That's better.
Nice.
Yeah, so 2 layers is good. Now what I'm going to do is take those same two. What did I do? Yeah, I want to take maybe one of them. Oh, I like both.
So this Hammers library is using lots of different types of drums, isn't it?
Yes.
So we can find them.
What I love
if you
about
wanted a different one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to work with, but what I love about it is it's really well processed.
Yeah.
It's like out of the box, ready to go. Like even the rolls that we do have flams that I call these flams. I've been wrong with this time. Maybe it's like it's in the eye of the beholder.
Learning something new there. You can hear the space that it's been recorded in, though, is quite stark sounding, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's not got a soft ambience to it. Already it's got that kind of impact.
Feels modern, right? But it also works really well for this genre. Although we can add some reverb to it, but I'm thinking it kind of works really well. Let's see what happens if we accent some of the ostinato. Just play around with that because I think that could be quite cool.
So are you considering this another layer, our next layer, that would be available to the developers to increase the intensity depending on the scenario?
Exactly that, yeah. And you'll notice what I'm also trying not to do is I'm trying not to create a rhythm that repeats.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to have this all the way through. In fact, I might only have this when the low strings come in. In fact, get rid of one. You're expecting 3 in 7/8, aren't you? Like Wonder Woman, you know that dun dun dun.
Yeah.
So let's
again do the unexpected.
Let's not do that. In fact, I might not even come in on the downbeat. I think I already didn't come in on the downbeat. I should give that a little listen, make sure it's okay. Okay, I want to put something really big on the end there. Let's put something like.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, there's some really like sub-bassy something going on there.
That's working well for me. We have a sub here, so if you're wearing the headphones, you don't feel that. I can tell you now that I can feel that through the floor.
I can feel it under my feet. That is great.
Let's be really naughty. And layer that up.
Oh, I love that.
In fact, I like that so much, I'm going to repeat it. But not 3 times, only twice. And we're going to do no more percussion there. I might bring in some high percussion later, but what I will do is I'm just going to take that and drag it over here, because when those lows come in, I want that to definitely happen. Let's just hear it sound with the low strings and the highs. Right. Now,
the game is getting serious. Something bad is going to happen.
You're being chased and things are going wrong.
Fantastic.
Now, I'm going to try my best to bring in some high percussion, which means playing quite fast. The reason why I wouldn't play fast with low percussion, it gets too noisy.
Okay.
It can work really well in like a Batman movie where there's, you've got the low fast percussion, but I think in this we want the low percussion to be slow and fast percussion to be higher. What about something like this? Let's try that.
Let's give it a go.
I would probably turn it down.
Yeah.
I'll
so
play
it's a slightly more subtle percussive sort of higher level. Are you thinking rather than those hits, something sort of?
Yeah, I want it to be like the
top.
ostinato, but further distant. I'm not sure if I'll play all the way, but we'll see what happens.
See what comes in,
yeah, because sometimes you have to make the mistake before you find a good idea, and I'm really good at making mistakes. So that will do, because what I want to do, I want to quantize that, and all right, let's just double check that.
There we go. So, we got it.
Let's make it so that we want the dynamics to pop, but we don't want it to be like too accented. So let's go for that, which is a little bit more. I want to put that lower, still lower.
So these drums are really responsive to the velocities by the sounds of it. You've really got the different kind of layers going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring them all down a little bit. What I like about this library is sometimes some of the velocities around this 50 to 70 area, I don't feel like they're as well connected or cohesive with the overall velocity arc, but with this library for sure. It's, you know what I mean?
That gradual increase seems to work really nicely.
It's nice and organic. So
nice.
I would spend a bit more time on that for realism, you know, because in the percussion, it's interesting. Although the sound design stuff, we want it to feel, it doesn't need to feel like it's real. But when it comes to percussion, you do want it to feel real.
Yeah.
So I would put a bit more time into that.
Sure.
I need to copy and paste that over.
So speaking of which, we are coming to the end of our time frame here. So it'd be great if we could have a listen back through to our different layers and seeing how they connect together.
Let's see. Time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
All right. So what I'm going to do, make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So let's give it a playthrough. So layer 1.
So this is our ambient layer. Nice. That hit really impacts.
Might have a bit of the high percussion there, maybe.
That sub is so good.
See, that needs to be quieter, right? Like, we can't let that go. Let's bring that down a bit and give that a little bit of listen to there. There we go. Keep that going, you know. And there's a couple of other things I would do. I would bring in more of the brass, maybe some woodwinds, doing some runs and stuff like that.
That's fab though, Matt. I mean, we've seen already just in 15, 20 minutes, you've created a fantastic cue for a horror video game. Obviously, lots more you'd like to do with it, and we're going to leave you to carry on.
It's a good start. It's a good start.
It's a great start, yeah, really good.
The libraries speak for themselves, don't they? Because I didn't really do any editing there, and it sounds good out the box.
And already we've got that kind of ambient feel for a horror game. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. If you're interested in creating more music for video games, join us over at ThinkSpace Education.